we're live.
All right, guys, welcome back. Big episode this week, episode 9. I've been waiting a long time to have good friend LJ Bickenworth on. He was in the metal bands DeathBed as well as Royal Revised, correct, LJ?
Yep.
Royal Revised. We come from a real small town, and he got to do Warp Tour with probably quite a few bands that we all know and love today. So I'm super excited for the insight that we're going to get from him, have a one-on-one conversation with him, boatload of questions, as well as we're going to also, since we got him on, we're going to do a reaction with him as well. Do a couple of songs, one being Monster by As I Burn, and then the new song off of the Aggression series with Malevolence. So, LJ, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's have a little background on where you started, give everybody a little rundown.
I got started playing music when I was probably 14 years old. My stepbrother was in band, and he was really good at the trumpet, and he got a guitar, and I got a guitar for Christmas after he did, and I tried to learn it. I learned a few chords. Really wasn't my thing. Year went by. I discovered metal music. I guess at that time it'd be like post-hardcore. Under Oath was the first band I ever listened to, and they're Only Chasing Safety. I put that album on repeat for years straight, and learned how to scream from listening to Spencer. Got into some bands in high school, and after I graduated, I started a band in college, which was Royal Revised, and really went all in on it. Got to record with Atrium Audio out in Lancaster, put out an EP, and that EP got us on the local stage of Warped Tour in 2013. So got to accomplish basically at that point a lifelong dream, because I was still young. I don't even think I was 21 yet when that happened, and just went all in from that point, trying to make it as a musician.
So I have to ask, somebody as myself who's very into music as well. I play drums. I love doing vocals as well. It's taken me 6 years just to learn how to do something, I guess, right, scream correctly, I guess, in the way that it feels good for me. Kind of walk us through how you learned how. So you said Spencer from Under Oath was the guy that you kind of based your scream off of. How did you practice that? Were you like sitting in the closet at home, muffling the doors in your closet to just like rip out growls, or like kind of walk through that process?
Yeah, so that's partially correct. A lot of it was done in the shower. I spent many an hour screaming at the shower walls and pissing my parents off, because they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm being a rock star, Mom. But just like any spare moment that I'd get, I would practice. At home. I didn't really do it at school, but like when you're obsessed with something, you kind of just find any spare moment that you can to work with it. So it probably took me a year or two to actually develop it. Because when you're 15, your voice is changing a lot.
Oh yeah.
I got like a baseline level down where I could consistently make the noises, and I had a desirable sound that I liked. And then I played a show, which ironically was at our old high school camp, and the adrenaline when I hopped out on stage and tried to like scream, I opened up this whole new range that I didn't know I had. And that's where the high screams from Royal Revised developed from, because I was like, oh my God, there's this incredibly high, like piercing range that I have that I stumbled upon accidentally. I didn't even mean to. I was just so hyped to play a show and like put 110% effort into my voice, and it just kind of happened. So
I love that. I love that so much. And I loved your vocal work with Royal Revised a lot. I just
no one does.
I just caught up with a lot of the older stuff. Of course, you already know, I still jam the Deathbed to this
Hmm.
day. But I love the high
Deathbed.
vocals, man. I love the high vocals. That's like one of my favorite things. It was, for me personally, the hardest one for me to kind of figure out. It's funny how I learned it myself was I actually lost my voice. I think I was at a concert and I just scream my heart out when I go. And the adrenaline that you get after going to a show,
Hmm.
I'm just jamming out karaoke in the car. And I could not do a scream or a fry to save my life, but I could somehow just hit this register in a high. I have no idea how, but ever since then, kind of like how you just said it, like
Yep.
the adrenaline and
Exactly right.
everything
Yep.
kind of like opened up something else there. So that's really awesome. And I was also wondering, as you learned how to, of course, scream, right? You did all these shows. So when it came to touring, how like what changed with your voice? Like would you like not talk on days that you had to, go out and perform? Or did you have like a warm up? So like, what did you do with that? How did you go about that when you started really touring all the time?
Well, I definitely talked a lot. I was, the front man. I tried to be as personable and social as much as I could because I wanted everybody to have a good time. And you get a lot of bands that, even when they're just starting out, like they kind of like get the rock star mentality, like, oh, I'm playing a show, I don't need to talk to these people. But I was always at the merch table talking to people or walking around the venue trying to like, just bridge the gap between artist and listener. And so I never stopped talking. But I had a dedicated warm up that I did every time. I would take 10 to 20 minutes before our set and just get everything nice and limber. Um, for a while, I used like that herbal tea, that throat coat stuff, and honey. But eventually, I stopped doing that, and water just did the trick. I think it was mostly placebo. I mean, there's definitely some benefits to it. Like the honey definitely coats your throat and like gives it, makes it so like the vibrations are not as harsh. But I never really had an issue with that. The only times I ever had trouble with my voice was if I was sick, and
Which
even
makes a lot
then,
of sense with all the excess mucus that's going
Mhm.
down and draining through. That makes a lot of sense on why.
But even then, still went out and performed. I mean, the second year that we got that local Warp Tour thing, I was sick, and my voice was only half there. But I did I warmed up, and it came back. So dedicated warm up, lots of water, lots of water. I had, we'd play a half-hour set. I'd have 5 bottles of water there, and also get your body warmed up too. Yeah, it all goes together. So just dedicated warm up and try and take care of myself in general. Nothing too crazy.
Well, I didn't expect anything too crazy, but it is cool. For someone like you, how you just started out just, trying to scream, any chance that
Mhm.
you got, right? We wanted to really do it. You wanted to dig in deep for it, right? So I guess it was like, was it hard for you to understand or maybe get used to the change between a raw voice of when you would just practice wherever you could, and then when you actually got onto a microphone?
Yeah, that changes the whole dynamic because when you do not have a microphone in a PA system, you're you're not aware of how much volume you actually need until you develop that skill, like the hearing, the pitch, and the noise in your head. So when I was first learning, I would just try and scream as hard as I could, and that wouldn't get me the desired results that I wanted. Like trying to just like belt it like Parkway Drive style, like belt it out the top of my lungs. I didn't have that capability. Like I was somebody that I could scream decently loud, but it's not the volume that matters; it's the tone. And to get that, I had to lower the volume. But when you have a microphone, you become almost aware of that instantly because you don't have to put forth like the strain and the effort. And you're like, yo, why is this just like sliding out? It's like eating a cookie. It's just so easy to put down. It just comes
Yeah,
out.
I explain it to a lot of people that it's almost just like a normal singing voice.
Hmm.
When you normally sing and then you go to a mic, right? There's not much of a change. You sing in a normal level projection, right? And then with screaming, For
It's
anybody
also
that's
normal
trying
for
to
Jack.
learn, you typically would think that you actually are screaming, but it's kind of the same exact
Hmm.
tone and volume.
Yep.
So I was really glad that you were able to get that question answered. 'Cause that was something I felt personally when I went from here to there, and I was wondering if it was the same for you. So I do got to ask, what happened with Royal Revised to the Deathbed? Like, what is it the
The
same?
transition.
Are they the same bands, just name change, or
Uh, yes and no. Royal Revise was the foundation for Deathbed. Um, we had so many member changes, which that happens with bands. But being completely independent and self-funded is really hard to maintain like a consistent schedule in what we wanted to do with people just coming and going. So we had some people interested in joining because they people talk and they knew that we had members leaving, and that's where Kyle came in. And Kyle joined right as our original drummer Devin was leaving because he was getting married and he didn't want to do the band thing anymore. He just graduated college with me, and he wasn't interested in it anymore. So um, Kyle joined. We did a couple shows as Royal Revise, and Alex, who um, was another one of almost original members. Like he was second gen bassist, but he was there for all the the album releases and everything. So I consider him the OG. Um, he and I were the last members left at Royal, like the old guard, and the three of us just said, well, you know what? Why don't we just like rebrand and do something more marketable? Like, because we wanted to make money on it. We wanted it to be our lives as well as a passion. So we brainstormed, came up with Deathbed, uh, worked with a manager, got our all our PR situated, and then we just spent like a year building up music videos and artwork and merch and getting ready to take the world by storm. And then we started releasing stuff.
what was something that after you like I guess started releasing stuff that I guess you didn't expect to come or expected, but it was just like so much better than you anticipated, I guess, if that's a better way to
Just
ask.
the reception to Deathbed was incredible. Like Royal
I do
Revival was
remember that.
really we were much more progressive than Deathbed is. Deathbed's we're catchy. Like I mean we're heavy, but we're catchy heavy. We got
Yeah.
choruses and a lot of electronic influence and catchy melodies. Royal Revive didn't really have that. We
Yeah,
we
you
had
guys were very progressive on the
yeah
guitar work. I really like that a lot. I also love the Deathbed sound as well. But it was I don't know. I do remember this vaguely. I don't even know how old I was, but I remember hearing about the name change and everything, and then you
Mhm.
dropped the music video for I believe Casualty, and
Waste
then Waste. That's what
Waste
it
was the
was.
first
Yeah,
one.
Waste was, and then that came out. I'm like, holy shit, this is a heater.
Yeah
And then Casualty came out second,
yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Yes. And like I said, I still blast that one to this day, man. That's a banger.
That's my second favorite Deathbed song.
Okay, I was actually gonna ask, what is your
Yeah.
favorite song that you've written? I guess between both bands.
Self Medicate is my favorite Deathbed song that we've done, and Royal Revise, that's a hard one. Um,
I personally really like Rebirth. That
yeah,
one's that one
that
like
that one's fun to play live.
yeah, that one gets me
Um,
fucking amped up.
just like, what are we basing it off of? Like the enjoyment of playing it, or the like the artistry behind it?
How about this? What one means more to you? Whatever one would mean more to you. So I would assume the one that you would probably have the most fun with and enjoyment out of getting the crowd hype, or that you just enjoy, busting out that song live. I would say that's probably what I would be aiming
Oh, definitely. That would be a Deathbed song for sure.
for
Yeah,
sure.
self medicate's so groovy. Like the breakdowns in that and everything, like that gets a crowd bumping.
Okay, that's awesome. So what was like your favorite what's like a give us some insight. So who are some of the bands that are still around today that you got to tour with and meet on these little Warp Tour
Oh boy.
shows?
Silverstein, Beartooth. I don't know if North Lane was on a tour. It was 2017 and 2018 Warped Tours.
North Lane. Oh,
Yeah.
they're older stuff, man. I really enjoy
yeah.
that progressive sound from them.
But the I can't even think of Amir was pretty good. That's
Nice.
a sleeper, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about Amir anymore, but they released that album with the white cover there right before 2017 Warped Tour. And I watch them every day.
That was the one with Solar Flare Homicide, was it not?
No, that was the one that had Look at Me Now and Torch.
Oh, okay.
Now Torch,
Okay.
that song goes hard. That's a banger right there.
So what was like your favorite memory that you would say that you've had touring around, the country or around the world at that? Like what's something that you'll like just never forget? Getting the chance to do something that's so little get to do.
Just seeing all the places. I mean, Warped Tour is, it's once you're in it, it's a routine. I mean, you wake up, you drive, you park, you're at the grounds all day. But like when you get off days and you can go to different places and see everything. The first time I got to see the redwoods in California, my mind was broken. I couldn't believe like how beautiful they were. Just the natural landscapes that we have just here in America. We got some beautiful, beautiful country.
Yeah, even just here in like Pennsylvania, you got people that are from, we'll just say like Texas or I don't know, just North Dakota, where it's just very, very flat in some areas, and then they see all these mountains and trees and hills and everything, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible." So I can imagine just seeing something like the redwoods.
Yeah.
How almost like the little things that you in life sometimes you forget to appreciate. That was like a moment right there where you're like, wow,
absolutely.
Like this world that I do live in, like even though I'm busy doing this, I'm busy doing that, I can take a step back and I can really just appreciate this little thing that is just so beautiful.
It's wild seeing trees that big because I lived out in California for a bit, and it's like humbling to like walk up to something that's like like it's as big as a car, but it's like tall, and it is. I'd say anyone who hasn't, you should definitely drive across the country sometime, because that's the weirdest part, is to realize like how different everything is. Like you'll go through, it's weird because I think sometimes you get blinded by like modern life of like most cities seem the same because like it's the same 5 companies that own like most mall locations and stuff. So like this inside cities, it seems similar, but like the landscape around the country, it is weird to like go through Texas that's just like huge and flat, but then like the mountains of like the Northeast and everything.
Oh, it's like, incredible.
It's amazing.
Like, I travel for work all the time.
And now you're going across the pond.
Yeah, across the pond over for Chaos, baby. I'm excited. This is my first time out of the country, actually. Never been one to travel. I mean, except for work, that's about the only time I'd ever travel. And it's weird. I'm sure that you actually, LJ, you may be able to carry into this. When all you do is travel, like, yes, it's nice, it's cool, but sometimes you just want to go home. You just want to get away.
You crave that normalcy.
Yeah, and then when you go home, right? I'll just use myself as an example. So like I used to work a 2-in-1 schedule, 14 days on and I'd have 7 days off, but I never actually had 7 days off. What it really was I was gone for 16 days and I would come home for 5. And then if I was going on the nights, I'd be home for 4.5. And it sucked. And everybody would always want to go do all these things. They'd want to be like, hey, let's go on a little vacation. Let's go camping for 3 days. Bro, I do not want to camp. I do not want to go anywhere else but home. I want to sit at home. I don't care, what it is that you want to do. I've been around. I just want to relax and, have my time for myself.
Sure.
And it's really weird. It's a weird dynamic to explain unless you really do it all the time. And I mean, I guess there are some people that travel all the time and they love it. Kudos to them. But sometimes I just want to come home, relax, and do what I want to do and appreciate what I have where I'm at. rather than, because like I said, I've been to North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas. I've been to Florida, Kentucky. I've worked in, and Ohio, of course. I've been up in New York. I've never worked in New York, and then West Virginia and Virginia, the boondocks of West Virginia, bro. And I mean, right there, I just listed off probably 11 places I've been. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather be in my little holler here in Limestone where, nothing really goes on and it's quiet. And then if I want to go do something, I can drive to Pittsburgh. That's an hour. Or I can go into Clarion, which is 20 minutes, if that. Mm-hmm. So, I could assume for you, for as much as that you toured, I'm sure that sometimes you were just like, man, maybe not homesick. You just wanted to go home. You just wanted to kick back, relax, just kind of get away from everything for, like a reset or anything.
Well, on tour, there's not a lot of privacy. To get privacy, you have to like leave the vehicle or walk away from like the showgrounds or the venue. But even then, you still don't have complete and total privacy because you're in public. There's not really a place where you can just go and shut yourself off from everything for a little bit. So you have to learn how to live in the moments where there's not much going on if you want that peace and quiet. It's not like you can just go into complete solitude. You have to find the moments and just completely immerse yourself in them and be mindful of everything that's going on.
I'm sure that even just made you really like take a step back and like just appreciate everything in life, just the little things, just like we were talking about with those redwoods, man. I'm sure that that moment for you, even though you may not really be completely alone in solitude like you're wanting to, you were able to like really just appreciate the silence that you got with it, maybe,
Well, I was definitely alone in the forest because I took off and walked around for miles by myself. They thought I got lost.
Yeah, it's easy to get almost lost in that valley.
It sure is. But hey, man, if I got lost there, that's a good place to get lost. I could die there and be happy. It is what it is.
Where's LJ at? We got a show in 20 minutes. He's in the forest. Good luck finding him.
So was there anything specific you would do to like remind yourself of home, or like anything special from Pennsylvania that you would be like keep as a reminder, or would you just call home as a reminder?
I have many pictures of my dogs. I would call home and I'd be like, I'd ask my mom to FaceTime and put my dogs on the phone so I could talk to them. But that only goes so far, and it helps. But a lot of it just came down to like mental conditioning and fortitude. Because, I mean, you're out there with a bunch of people that you know and that you don't know. So there's a lot of conflicting personalities, and you just need to really be solid in who you are and not be affected by what everyone else is doing, because it's the music industry. Everybody's a diva. We're all prima donnas in one way or another. So you just need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, like David Goggins says. Like you got to be able to
find solace within hell.
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, not that it was hell, but just if I was feeling down or out or something wasn't going my way that day, I would just have to take a deep breath and be like, yo, dude, chill. Like, look at where you're at right now. You're in Texas, in Dallas, with thousands of people that are here to see the same stuff you are. Everyone's, having a good time. Like, just relax.
No, that's a really good perspective to have. And it's nice when it's coming from like a personable standpoint, kind of like you said, at the end of the day, I'm sure I'm not in the music scene, but you said big personalities, divas, etc. But at the end of the day, you are able to just be like, man, here I am. Like you coming from where we're from, we come from a very small town. You probably, you knew that if you worked for it, the possibility was honestly endless. But did you ever really think that you were going to get to where you got and in the time frame that you got there? Did you really ever think that was going to happen?
Well, I mean, I knew that something would happen eventually with enough pressure. The levee's got to break sometime. But being young, I was impatient, like most young people are. So instead of pacing myself for the long game, I went hard. I went all in from day one. Like I burnt the candle at both ends every day for years and years. And I mean, that got me somewhere. It did. And I'm grateful for what it did. But, looking back, I definitely would have slowed down and taken the time to understand my situation and the circumstances around everything, and like really plan stuff out better and think more about how to move forward rather than just throw a brick at a window and climb through the broken window. Because
that was an excellent analogy.
like there's a lot of things I would have done differently, honestly, but I don't regret what I did. I didn't hurt anybody or anything. The only person that got hurt was myself, because I was just in a rush, and that doesn't always pan out the way you want it to when you're rushing, because everything's flying by beside you at such fast speeds that you don't see what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost like the slower. Yeah, I mean, it's like this with training, with strongman. For you who does MMA, taking the slow approach is so much better than going all out at the start, because you're able to take in everything and slowly build up that stamina, build up that strength, build up your central nervous system to being aware of what is actually going on around it. And that's where injuries happen with strongman. Even in MMA, I'm sure it's the exact same. You
I
try
have a
so
broken
hard.
hand.
You try so hard to move so fast, and a lot of guys, I mean, especially in our industry, they get hurt. They get hurt really quickly because their body or whatever just was not prepared for the speed that they tried to move forward with. So that's actually an awesome perspective that actually kind of ties in with everything in life that we do, right? Not even just music. I mean, friendships, relationships, everything. It all pans into that. The slow gains are the gains that you keep. The fast games are the ones that you lose, right? And it's like that with everything. I wish there was another way that I could explain that to, anybody that's young trying to do anything. Just like you said, you were young. I was like that too. And at times you kind of pay the price for it. Maybe not in like a terrible way, but you still kind of like take a step back and you reflect. And you're like, man, if I would have just done that, just it's a little different, where would I be now? But that's okay though, because it gives us that moment in reality where we're able to take a step back and be like, man, well, I wouldn't be here now if I didn't do that. And it kind of molds us into who we are. So it's really awesome. I do have to ask LJ. Oh, go ahead, John.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, because that's the thing I found the most of. Like, I turned 33 in May, and it's interesting because my 20s, I always felt like I was going to miss things. So I'd like go to everything I could, like every event, and like just kind of burnt myself out. It was just like always doing stuff because there was a sense of like, what if I don't get to do this again? And it's like, the biggest thing you realize is sometimes like you almost self-sabotage by rushing things because you're like, oh, I need this to happen right now. And it's like, life really is a marathon. Like it takes time and everything, but it's hard of like in the moment. I think sometimes I was going to ask if like at the time, because you hear a lot of musicians and like online content creators and stuff talking about like that fear that this moment might end. So part of it's like, I need to soak this all up and do as much as I can now, because what if it stops happening and everything? Did you ever feel like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There are definitely times when, living in the moment was needed. Like, an example, are you guys familiar with the old All Press Award show, the APMAs?
Yeah.
So I got invited to that in 2000, I think it's 15. And there was this after party. Rob Zombie's there. So he had performed. So it's like, okay, Rob Zombie's standing there. Am I going to sit here on the sidelines and just be like scared to say hi to him? Or am I going to go over there and talk to him and meet this like legendary musician / movie producer / director? And you got to do it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, really anything. Like sometimes stuff just pops up and you have to take advantage of it. Like, So you're given a crazy opportunity, like Cam. Like say tonight, Cam gets an offer to go, like fly to Japan and train with some crazy strongman guy. I don't know if they have strongmen in Japan, but if it's this all expenses paid trip, and they're like, you need to come now. Are you gonna go? Or are you gonna be like, man, I don't know. That's kind of short notice.
Knowing me, I'll probably be like, okay, I'll be there. Yeah. I'm a more of a, I'm such an in the moment kind of guy though.
It's a skill to develop, honestly.
And it's I feel at times that it's my biggest downfall because I refuse to try to live in the past and I refuse to look ahead into the future. I always just try to, and like you said, it is a skill set. You definitely have to train yourself to think that way, right? And that comes with, trauma or whatever it is. Either way, I don't know. And sometimes I really do feel like that is a really bad trait for me to have because just like you said, I'm not at all going to think about who it's going to affect if I'm not around here or, my dogs, my family, anything, my wife. I don't know, but it's almost like a selfish thing. You're like, oh, well, you know what? I got to take this opportunity to do it. But you need to kind of take a step back and kind of look at like what's going to happen. What are the waves that are going to get set in motion if I were to do that? But I would definitely think about that one. But that's a good example that you brought up about that. Like, what are you going to do in that moment? And you do have to take advantage of it. I do that at every concert I go to. I met Will Ramos at the Lorna Shore show in New York. I'm a huge fanboy of that dude, and it's not even just because of like the hype that's around him. The dude is so personable. He's so nice. Every video that you see here, every video that you see of him in any interview, he's that person. He is not a fake persona whatsoever, and he's just such a nice, personable human being. And that to me shows that wow, that's a true individual. That's true character. That's somebody that got all this hype, unexpected, and took it and he ran with it in the best possible way he could have, right? And just any other time, like I've met a lot of musicians like Ronnie Radke, Jeremy McKinnon from A Day to Remember, all these guys, and a lot of them have been so nice. But it's just, what if I would have not just been like, oh my God, that's him right there? You don't want to seem like an annoying fan, because they probably get really sick and tired of it. But I always try to be as extremely polite as I can be.
Sure.
And just, not talk to them about everything that they already talk about all the time. Just ask them about how their days go. What has it been like? Did you ever think you'd be here? Shit like that. Anybody can ask the same questions 300 times. So I did want to ask you, though, LJ, myself, which we can tell everybody, all the listeners, is there plans for more music to be independently released through DeathBed with you guys?
Yeah, at some point. We're working on it. I don't have a timeline or anything,
Good things take time, man.
Yeah, but we're grinding. We got some demos. We're in the very early stages still, but I've lived enough life since the last time we released music that I have a lot I can write about and really grown up just like as a person since DeathBed. We wrote that album. We wrote that out the last album in 2015. So it's been what was that 8 years now?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
a really long time.
So the stuff I was going through then was obviously it was on my mind and very present in the stuff that I was writing. But I don't, those struggles aren't the same anymore. And like I don't have as much angst as I did when I was younger. Like I'm not old, but like I feel like I have an old soul because I just kind of take things as they are and change what I can. But I don't get as like upset about things not going my way anymore. I'm like, yeah, you know what? There'll be another path to take. It's like the road always has another turn. It's never just going to be one path that you follow the whole time. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like life it already has our lives planned out for us. It's just what route are we going to take?
Yeah.
Right.
It feels like all the roads that I've traveled in my early 20s and mid 20s, like they've all started to converge, and I'm just on this really well lit path to whatever I want, and DeathBed's definitely going to be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm actually extremely excited. I'm excited for one because I loved the music. I still love it to this day. And second off, I'm super excited to see the sound change in what it was to what it will be when it is yet again released, because you got all these magnificent, crazy sounding bands such as Invent Animate, super progressive. They remind you actually a lot of earlier North Lane.
Mm-hmm.
That super progressive stuff, like that with the album that came off of the song Quantum Flux and World Beater. Forget what that album was called. But then you got like Bad Omens, who actually, now that they're brought up, I did want to ask you, did you end up playing with them at any Warped tours?
No.
Because I know that they released that self-titled in 2016, where everyone's like, "Oh, they sound just like Bring Me the Horizon." Either way, it sounds amazing. And
hey,
just
man,
looking at where they're at now, it's like, wow, this is incredible. But it's just like the development of music and how it's changed. That's why I'm so excited to hear.
Well, it goes in cycles. We're in a cycle of heavy mainstream. Like heavy music is mainstream now, and eventually it'll go back out. But these bands, their time's here, so they're capitalizing on it, and more power to them because it's freaking awesome.
It is really awesome. It's an awesome thing to be a part of. To like, what's a band that I guess that you are still like hitting it to this day, or some like within the heavy scene? What is a band that you're always listening to? A must, like a go to. Like, you have like 3 off the top of your head you could name.
Yeah. Alpha Wolf is probably close to number 1.
John, what did I tell you about them boys?
No.
What did I tell you about them boys in Australia? I've been saying that for years.
Dude, Alpha Wolf goes so hard.
Breakdown core, bro. Lucci, I met Lucci from Alpha Wolf.
Nice.
That dude is the shit. Anyways, carry on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Are you familiar with the band My Ticket Home?
I'm not, no.
Okay. They started off as a rise core band, like the generic rise formula, breakdown chorus, super poppy overlaid vocals. But their singer has a side project called Head Cave, and it's wild. I love listening to that band.
It almost sounds like, I've never even heard of it, but it sounds like just based off of the name of the band that they'd be like Slam Beatdown or something. Like
no,
Beatdown,
not quite.
Beatdown.
They're I don't know how to describe them. They got a lot of new metal influence, but they're like they're I don't know, man. They're their own thing. Yeah. So Alpha Wolf, Head Cave. You know what? Cane Hill. I've been listening to a lot of Cane Hill still lately. Cane Hill's got some. They got some cool stuff. They started off as you're like more of like a new metalcore band, but they really they switched their game up and went heavy, but it's really almost like shoegaze rock with breakdowns and screaming. So
it's actually a really awesome list, because it's almost like, I haven't heard the second band. I've of course heard of Cane Hill, but it's like very different kind of subgenres each.
Yeah,
they're kind of getting down to, because I don't know what else to call Alpha Wolf besides hardcore or breakdown core. That's what I kind of call it, because every song that they have is literally a fucking breakdown. Just about it's so good.
They're just metalcore that leans more towards the core side.
It's great. It is phenomenal. I've been a huge fan of them.
They're awesome. Oh, Wage War too. Wage War is good. Wage War. I like
Wage War is so good. They have just like their singer, like the range that they can do is really great. And also Head Cave, I like the fact that they're described as new metalcore. I'm like, that's a good, like the fusion of 2 great genres. Because new metal doesn't get enough love. Like, everyone hated it for a bit, but it's like we all loved it. Like, we can all pretend that we didn't love it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard though, because like everybody picks, I mean, typically the same three: Slipknot, Korn, and I hate to say this, but Limp Bizkit, bro. Everybody's always talking about Limp Bizkit.
I was gonna say Linkin Park's in there too.
Around me.
Yeah.
Well, Linkin Park, yes, but I never really hear anybody talk about Linkin Park within the new metal scene. I don't know why.
They transcended it. That's why.
They did. Kind of like Disturbed, like a little bit. Disturbed has had some good stuff.
They're going on tour.
Ooh. I feel like everyone's going on tour these days, though.
Tour. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy seeing some of the tour
time, man.
you
Just
see
like you said.
It's also the only way they can make reasonable money anymore, because streaming doesn't really pay unless you're huge, like Bring Me the Horizon.
With World's Strongest Opinions, we just started getting ads with Spotify, and it's crazy when you realize that like $10 for 1,000 listens doesn't go very far, and that's a decent click per like stream thing. But it's like, you imagine the scale of that. Like if I was relying on that for your full-time income, you're like, you literally need to get 1 million streams a month to like make reasonable money and everything. And it's just like, and especially when you're splitting it with a band. But also what's weird is I saw some venues now, just to like spite bands who are trying to make money, now take a cut of like the merch sales. To the point that like,
bring that up.
Yeah, I was like, you'd think if like some venues now charge like 5% of merch sales or something.
No, dude, that's been a thing forever.
That's crazy.
That
sucks.
Since the Stone Age.
Yeah,
venues have always taken a merch cut. Every time you would play a show at a venue, that you'd have to meet up with their, I don't know what their position was called, but there was a person that was assigned to come check in with your merch guy at the end of the night and like take a cut of the sales. Like it's their fee.
Do you guys get a cut of alcohol sales? Because that's how that should work. That's the crazy thing. So when I heard that, I was like, you're bringing people here to drink their beer that they're charging like 3,000% like upsell on.
You know, there has been a benefit to all like the crazy people getting offended on the internet stuff, and that's like people are fighting for better treatment of just workplaces and careers and everything all around. Like 10 years ago, you wouldn't have heard anything about people trying to get bands a cut of the alcohol sales from the bar and be like, oh, that's just part of the game. You know, that's your opportunity cost.
That's it's like Bad Omens and Architects. Actually, Alpha Wolf as well made it very well known that like they're pretty much not going to stand for that shit anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we'll come play, but we're not. If you're going to take money from us and our merch sales, where it's like the only thing that touring bands really make money off of them, like unless you're, of course, the Slipknots, the Bring Me the Horizon. I mean, like, where else are these smaller bands that are trying to grow supposed to, fund? You know what I mean? Because I've heard from a few people, it's not cheap to tour, and you don't really make that much money.
Nope. You're putting everything out of your own pocket and your day job into it just to make it happen. And
that's like, it's not fair to any musician, to say the least. But unfortunately, it's how life is. Yeah. It is unfair. But, with bands like the Bad Omens and the Architects and even Alpha Wolf, who's, I guess, a smaller but up-and-coming band, I think they should be huge. But, like, you got those bands that are standing up for it. Bad Omens is on top of the world right now.
Yeah, dude, they're riding the wave.
And
they are.
They're riding their moment.
They're taking a stand for it. And then you got Architects, who just released 2 albums within the last several years, are very well known throughout the entire metal community. They're taking a stand. It's going to be like the bands, like I feel like Bring Me the Horizon, maybe, to be like, okay, you know what, if you're going to do that, we're not going to come around. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't know exactly how the logistics go to touring and how money works throughout all that. But that's what I would assume is going to happen.
And I think it's a good thing. Like, it's interesting that you brought up, like, people getting outraged all the time these days is, like, a thing that people kind of mock. But, like, a part of being a snowflake is, like, just not putting up with shitty treatment. Like, it's always interesting to realize that 10 years ago, if a band complained about, like, a venue wanting their merch things, you'd be like, you're just lucky to be here. Yeah, now it's like, no, the venue's lucky we chose to be here. We could have toured anywhere. We could have done this at, like, I remember tons of times going to, like, bands, because they had issues with like actual venues and stuff, would go to like VFWs and stuff that didn't take any merch cuts. That were just lucky. Like VFWs were going out of business because no one wants to like go relive war times anymore because war sucks these days. And so, but yeah, it's like, it's an interesting thing to think that's like a double-sided thing, that they were like, young people these days, like if you're born after 1990, you don't like being yelled at by strangers or your boss making you feel shitty, and you don't like people taking money from you for no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
well, look at it this way. If somebody builds a venue and they're like, oh, hey, here's a venue. Okay. Like, am I just going to go to the venue to stand in the building? No. I'm going to go see the artists that play at the venue, because that's what the venue's for. A venue without the artist is just, it's dead weight. You know, it's empty space.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
them abusing that I mean, I don't even know what to call it, because it's not right and it's not a privilege. It's just highway robbery. It's stealing.
Yeah, because I remember, what is it? Several, I think it was the National in Richmond, Virginia, that sometimes they wouldn't take cards and they only had one ATM, and the surcharge for the ATM, it was their personal ATM, was $7.
Yeah, they can charge whatever they want.
And I was like, it was crazy to me, because you'd be like, I just want $20 to buy this band T-shirt, and the venue just made $7 off of me because I had to go to the ATM, and now they're taking money from the band as well. And I'm like, that's crazy. That shirt literally just cost me $27, and that band, I guarantee you, saw like maybe $2.
Yep.
I can't believe that this has been a thing that's been going on forever. Honestly,
ever.
You telling me that, LJ, has me like, holy shit, it's taken this long for people to speak up on it, though?
No, hey, we didn't have, social media wasn't at the point that it was now back then, And even like as a local band playing shows, they'd still take a merch cut.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, of just like, because alcohol sales make so much money.
Oh,
like you're literally talking about like a $15 bottle of tequila that you're selling each shot for $7. Like, I'm like, you're just making money hand over fist, and then you're taking. But it is like, I think it'll be interesting to see now that it's millennials and Gen Z who are in bands and stuff who are like, wait, like I don't have to play here for you guys.
Yeah,
I could literally just like, some bands have talked about it, that they're like, I could literally just do a Twitch live show and make tons of money and tips and stuff, and like not have to go anywhere and just record from the studio.
Or just do a parking lot show. I mean, Warped Tour set the precedent. Buy a speaker system, renovate your trailer with all your gear in it, and just make the wall a speaker and play a show. It needs to be like with anything, that like when you take a stand on something, you have to replace the issue with the solution. You can't just be like, oh, this isn't right, and then be like, don't do anything about it, or just keep complaining. You have to come up with a reasonable way to fix the problem. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. It's going to be perpetuated forever. You can't complain and not take a stand, not try and fix it.
Do you have like an idea of what you could I guess take a stand with to replace that? Do you have an idea in your head? That I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Put a speaker in your trailer, buy a PA system, wire your trailer up, promote the heck out of your shows on social media with the money that you will save from not playing at the venue, and then have your merch guy barbecue stuff outside of the, like in the parking lot where you're playing, so there's food. Have them go to a store, buy like 20 cases of booze, and then upcharge it, and have a parking lot show. Have a mini Warped Tour show. No,
if it's that simple, John, I think LJ just gave us an idea of what we need to do.
That's true. That's what I was saying.
I'm all for that. I'm so sick of the. I mean, and then to add on to it, the fucking bullshit with record labels that they put a chokehold on these guys with. They shouldn't have to deal with this shit. These are guys that work their ass off to get anywhere, get their music out there, and wanted to make money. And then it's just like, it's a never ending cycle of not getting what you wanted. I mean, you got your music out there, but how are you supposed to make a credible living unless you're one of those big bands with the big names? It's a shame.
Unfortunately, while the change is happening, there are going to be people that they're the facilitators of the change and not the receivers of the change. And from the last, whenever Spotify took a decade, probably another decade on, we're going to be, or the musicians nowadays, they're going to be the facilitators of the change, and the next generation is going to be the one that receives that change, because record labels they're phasing out. Like the executives, they're getting old, they're dying. People can't maintain it anymore, and the new digital models it's here, but it just hasn't hit the level that it needs to yet. And unfortunately, stuff like that takes time. So not all the bands you love to see and listen to right now, they're probably not going to get the full benefits of that change, and the bands that come after will. And that's the same thing with venues. Honestly, like, in all seriousness, the best way to change that problem is for people like us in our age group that are able to open up venues and not practice that thievery. You gotta start the movement on your own, and the change takes time.
Yeah, because it will. I think at this point, like, there's only so long people will put up with like Ticketmaster and like all these companies that are scalping things, because at the end of the day, like now with like Venmo and everything, if I send you money, if I send you $25 for a ticket, I can just scan the receipt and just be like, look,
Yep.
I paid for this ticket. You literally do not need a middleman to buy things anymore.
Yeah.
And I think venues and places are going to start to learn that, to just be like, at the end of the days, you have bands like Our Last Night and a lot of bands who just made it via YouTube and Patreon, who like don't deal with the record labels and everything. They're just like market directly. Yeah, self-producing and everything. Because at the end of the day, it's like you said, a venue with no bands at it is literally a waste of real estate space and stuff. And I think at the end of the day, I think change will start coming faster as like companies just realize that
momentum ramps up.
Yeah, because I think more and more there is like less and less patience for things. So like immediately the outrage over like Live Nation with that issue with, what was the rapper's name? There were some people who died at his concert and everything. He did.
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. And everything. Like there was instant uproar and like an instant demand for change. Like, why did Live Nation do better security? Why didn't they?
I mean, it was basically a satanic ritual.
Entire
show. I mean,
that's
a whole nother topic. But I mean, shit, that's exactly what all those mainstream shows are pretty much anymore. Which, I mean, more power to them. Freedom of speech. I don't care. But I mean, there's no reason people should have to worry about dying at a fucking show.
Yeah.
And metal gets the bad rap.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing, is these companies are literally making money hand over fist for nothing.
Yep.
Like they are literally, and the thing is, I get that like providing a website is a service and everything, but more and more I don't understand the convenience charge that like online things are charging, because when you don't buy anything else, like recently, like my Cinemark rewards finally ran out, and I like went to buy tickets, and they're like a $5 convenience charge for buying them online. I was like, I'm a web developer. I know how much your website costs to run. It didn't cost $5 for this transaction. You paid your payment processor maybe 3% of this transaction, and we're talking about $18 here. Like that's all. Like, and maybe there's a slight thing, and I think more and more people realize that, of like, we've talked about it before, Patreon, and so many ways of like you can give money just directly to the artist, and there's so many times that like. I get why the government's starting to crack down on like PayPal transactions and stuff, because they're getting scared of this. Like more and more, like so many companies and stuff. Like I've even like smaller businesses. Sometimes I've been like, hey, I know like the company you go through is like charging extra money and like you're losing money on this. Can I just Venmo you $30 and just get a hoodie directly, or like a shirt directly, and just not deal with whatever like middleman is there? And that works because at the end of the day, like it's hard to make it as a small artist, and like it's one of those things that you have people like Taylor Swift making money hand over fist, but that's only because you have millions of streams. Like how are you going to get to that point of like having a full-time job? It was interesting when you said like the band lineup changes and everything. People don't always realize like even a small show like this, a podcast, like we both have full-time jobs and are trying to just do this as an extra thing. And sometimes I think people in their minds are like, oh, you're a musician. This is the box that you're in. And you're like, yeah, I'm a musician, but I work a full-time job and probably another job, and I do everything at night.
We wear many hats.
Yeah, because our generation does really. Like, as young people, you think, like, there are people who are paid to be social media managers, like paid salaries to do it for companies. And most of us have to do it for our side projects as a full-time thing.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to miss those opportunities. Like, what if someone messages you and you miss it, and that's your shot to, like, get out there? So I think that's always a big deal and stuff. Like you said, of like, shoot your shot. If you get to meet Rob Zombie, was he as cool as he seems? Because he seems kind of like he could be cool, possibly
he's cool
not be cool.
He's pretty chill. I mean,
yeah,
it was the after party, so it's like he expected everyone there to be cool. And he's like, he's having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
He wears so many hats, and it's great. His movies are just like weird, and he does what he wants.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the dream right there.
He earned that right, you know? He's like Hollywood Stephen King. Just doing all kinds of weird, awesome stuff.
That's true. So
the perspective that LJ gave on like what actually needs to change here, it's got my brain turning in gears.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, I mean, I'm serious, dude. Like that's something that seriously could potentially start something if the right person, you know, hears that or does anything. You could really get the train rolling with that, man. Not just yourself, anybody that listens here. Like, that's such a fucking great idea, and I know damn well any band would be all for it if within reason it was feasible to be done, which now that you say it like that, I think it is possible and can happen. Hell, I'd love to be a part of starting it somehow.
Yeah.
We start something like that. You guys get all your money and we'll help you. And we're not going to expect anything less. We just want you guys to grow. And I think that's something that gets forgotten, is that it turns into selfish wants, not needs. They turn into selfish wants from these people and individuals. But realistically, we need to act more selflessly here and look for the gain that they're going to grow rather than our own self gain, you know? And I think so many fucking people nowadays just only can live vicariously through themselves, when if they could just take a step outside and look at the amount of people that they're actually going to help out by just not being such a selfish piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not even in a band or anything, but I mean, I'm so emotionally in touch with music, and like all these guys, you know, you look up to so many dudes and they just get fucked over, and it's just not fair, because as you, the listener, if you're not real in touch with it, you don't realize the amount of money that they're losing. You don't realize the amount of fucking hard work and dedication, money that they've lost, people that they've lost, things that they've missed out on that they don't get to do just to fucking break even.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes with any non-traditional career too, you know, like fighters, athletes, not like NFL players, because NFL players and NBA players and MLB players, they make it the money. But like anything that involves you having to self-start and is non-traditional and off the beaten path, like there's a lot of investment that goes into it before stuff starts paying off, especially for artists. I mean, if you want good quality recordings, either you better hope somebody in your band has the setup and knows things and knows how to do it, or you're shelling out a lot of money to get that quality.
And
you're not. And you should. I mean, because the people that you're recording with and that are helping produce your music and help you create something that's worthwhile, I mean, they put in that grind too, and they deserve to be paid. So,
absolutely. Well, I think that's a good thing to end on for us to do this reaction with Malevolent, and then close out our ending statements with it. Yeah.
Let's go.
So do we want to do one or two? Because there's As They Burn, Monsters that seemed real good, and then Malevolence.
LJ?
Two?
Yeah, two's fine. One? Let's go.
Two's better?
Yeah, I like being exposed to new heavy music. So
yeah. Okay.
Cam, did you know that for Royal Revive and DeathBed, we shot, directed, and edited all of our own music videos?
Except
for Rebirth. Rebirth we didn't do. That was our
I
first
think I
one.
did know that.
But all the videos we put out, we've done ourselves. We created the sets and everything.
All your shit was pretty much self-produced too, was it not? Until you got on with that record label with DeathBed.
We were never on a label with DeathBed, actually. We just had a manager. Yeah, DeathBed was independent too.
Oh, okay. See, I thought that you guys were under label.
No.
No, I wanted to ask a lot of questions on it, but I was like, because like, you know, with the contract and shit, like I don't know really what you can say.
We weren't signed to any label. I mean, there were people interested, but it never panned out, you know. Royal, actually, I don't know how familiar you are with like music producers, but there is this guy that I say that, but he's one of the biggest producers in the rock and metal scene now. But
if you're about to tell me Will Putney, I'm gonna punch you in the head.
No.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say, bro.
No. This dude is his name is Drew Folk, and he hit us up. He hit Royal up. Oh, probably right before he moved to Los Angeles. He used to record in North Carolina, and he's worked with like Motionless in White, Bad Wolves. I don't know if you remember For All Those Sleeping.
Yep.
Like, he's super talented guy, and we ended up not going with him because of issues described earlier, you know, like members and everything. You know, it's hard being in a band with a bunch of artistic folk that are all headstrong.
I know.
Opinions on stuff. So
it is. I mean, even for me, like just trying to get a little band going with kids around here, which I've got. We've written like 3 songs. Timing just doesn't work out, or this or that. That's why, like, I took it upon myself. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna get a guitar. I'm gonna learn how to do it my goddamn self because I'm sick of depending on other people. Like, I love writing music. I love it. It's my favorite thing, and I didn't care how much I got paid or if I ever got paid. All I wanted to do was to reach out to kids like myself or people like myself that go to a show solely to let their emotions run wild, let them run free, and let them feel comfortable, and let them know that even though shit's tough, that this person feels the same exact fucking way that I did or do. And that's why, like, A Day to Remember and Bring Me the Horizon resonates so much with me, because at times that I felt were my lowest points of my life so far, they were always there. And it made me feel that even though I feel this way, I'm not alone in feeling that way, even with these guys that have this and that. And it's like, so that to me, writing music was never, I mean, like I said, I've never got anything out there, you know, it just doesn't happen that way, but I love writing lyrics that mean something.
You want to know something great about music? You know, you don't really age out of it. You know, it's not like a professional sport where you hit, you know, your late 30s and you're over the hill. Music, your mind's ever expanding, so your music can just keep getting better.
I know. It's fucking beautiful. It's a beautiful
If Under Oath was the first band that got me into like the heavier music, Bring Me the Horizon was the second, and I love them both equally. So like I feel you on that. And I mean, you look at Bring Me the Horizon, how it's like every album's different, you know. It's just everything's a creative. I mean, I'm not gonna say masterpiece, but like it's a creative amalgamation of everything that they've gone through, and it's awesome.
It really is, and that's why like it was a week ago, I think it was 10-year anniversary of Sempiternal came out, bro. I was so emotional that day, just because that album meant so much to me. And it's funny, House of Wolves is one song that resonates with me a lot because I'm not a religious person whatsoever, and I loved Ollie's approach in not giving a fuck about what anybody thought or how he felt. He was gonna just say it, right? So you know, when you die, the only kingdom you'll see is 2 foot wide and 6 foot deep. Holy shit! And then I hate to say it, but dude, it was Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking, where it's like my skin smothering me, you know, all that shit. Should I sink or swim or simply disappear? You're at the edge. Should you jump? Like all that. And it's like, God damn it, dude. Like you have all this fame, but you felt that same way. that I feel as a normal human. It's just like, I don't know. And then A Day to Remember, I swear to God, I've lived Jeremy McKinnon's life.
Oh, dude, there's A Day to Remember just writes the most digestible lyrics of all time. Like,
and it's funny
you
as
don't
hell
have to think
too.
about it.
No, and it's funny as hell too because I hate pop punk, but I love A Day to Remember.
He does.
I do. I cannot stand it. I don't know why. I just can't. But then you mix it in with what they're called now would be softcore, I guess. I don't know. Just I think Jeremy McKinnon is absolutely, I think unarguably one of the greatest metalcore songwriters, lyricists. I'm not saying he's the best singer, but when it comes to writing something down that flows and how it's written, I mean, hell, he's written like 3 songs for Wage War.
Yeah.
Their biggest hit, I think, is "Don't Let Me Fade Away." He wrote that for Wage War, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is amazing." I'm like, yeah, it's funny because Jeremy McKinnon actually wrote that song. Yeah. What? No way. Yeah, he did. He wrote that for them.
I would put him in the upper echelon of metalcore vocalists.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's surprised. Really good. Most people don't think that. You know, he does the singing and the screaming, which is extremely fucking hard to do.
Well, you want to know something about most people? Most people don't know anything. They'll act like they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
Jeremy McKinnon's a good singer.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Honestly, though, you know who else has done excellent throughout his career? And we were just literally talking about him, but with his voice is honestly Ollie Sykes, man.
He's improved a lot.
A lot, dude. Yeah. From a guy that could not really sing well to what he does now, and then seeing it live, it's like, wow, man. Like, you've really done
come a long way. He's not Jeremy McKinnon level, though.
No, I won't give him
not
that, at all.
He's come a long way.
Him having Jordan Fish in the back for backing vocals helps him out tremendously. He also brought in an amazing dynamic for that band after There's a Hell. Believe me, I've seen it. There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret, I think is what it's called.
That's my favorite album by theirs.
Oh my God, dude! Because so many people hate that album.
I love that album.
So many people hate it.
Dude, there's so much depth to every single song and all the layers of instruments and electronics. Mm-hmm. It's nuts.
Alligator Blood. Mm-hmm. It Never Ends is probably my favorite off of that.
Visions is up there for me. That song's really good.
I love this. I love this.
Are you guys prepared?
Yes, we are ready.
Let's hear this.
Ready? So the song came out last year on an EP because their last album was 2011, and their first EP in like 10 years or 11 years was the Ego Death.
Okay, so they're an older band.
Yeah, which is weird because I suddenly on YouTube they had 1,100 subscribers or something. But this video, people said it was good. They were like,
cool logo.
Yeah, it was Monster by As They Burn.
Chemicals in my blood, I gotta live this life. Give me a knife so I can show you what it's like. Don't fight the living dead. I step the game with poisonous name. My spells are crawling out of her display. Where tomorrow goes, you won't be the one. Where tomorrow goes, you will die anywhere. Whose body is dead? Just another kid with a fucked up brain. Let's form alive and get shots in cold blood. Getting wretched, though for free. I can try to get you away, but somehow this monster's got you under control. They've got all of you under control. They've got so many of you. They got me under control. They've got me under control.
It was interesting.
That was very different.
It was weird because when I tried to preview it, I just hopped around a few places and I couldn't figure out what kind of music it was for like the 6 places I jumped in on.
That was very, very different, dude. I was like, it's definitely got a new metal sound, 100%. Yeah. I was getting, I don't know if you could even hear me when I said it, but like, dude, Smashing Pumpkins is like all I could think about when it was like that soft, like, thing. You know, like,
I don't very know. 90s grunge.
Yeah.
Like vibe underneath everything.
There was bits of everything because it reminded me of like had some points that sound kind of like Fire from the Gods, but then there was a portion where it was just like Korn for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like
it was
a lot of weird stuff in it. It was hard to figure out. There's 2 vocalists and they're both really good, but this like hard to figure out like the range was impressive.
That was unlike anything I've actually ever heard. When it comes to like that kind of style, I must say,
it's like new metal.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
2 news.
It's pretty good. You know, I'll give that a solid. What would we say? 3 on the Def Cam. I was invested the entire time. There was one part in it where it like went to a breakdown, which I knew it was coming, and then it was like the silent fade out, and I was thinking in my head, like, I swear to fucking God, if this is gonna be a jazz break, like Sleep Token and Periphery and everything else, like I'm gonna freak out. Like this is insane. And then it wasn't. It just like went into like a slower, I think 4x4, but it was actually pretty good. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know me, I'll be straight up. If I think it's bad, that was good. It was very different though. That's definitely something you would send to somebody that wants to experiment with something new, I would say. Mm-hmm. Within the metal.
They're on a late night car ride and they just want something to unwind to.
Yeah.
It's ironic because it has really good screaming in it, but it's not like a punch your coworker in the face song.
Yeah.
It's not an ass beater.
No.
But it had those moments, the potential of like it would be interesting to hear more from them.
Yeah, you said that's the first thing that's been released in like 10 years?
Yeah, first thing that's been released since 2011. 2022 is when they put out an EP, Ego Death. So I was going to check out the other stuff from it because it is like, it's interesting to see where they would go with that. Because like you said, LJ, like the harsh vocals were really good.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised by that. Like when you first get into it, you're like, what's this going to be? And it was,
I think the only thing working against them in that song was the pacing, because there were parts where it wasn't really structured, like in terms of keeping attention. I mean, in respect, they did. Respect to them, they did what they wanted. It wasn't a bad song, but it felt like they could have taken parts and switched them around to make it a little more dynamic and interesting and more captivating. Because there are parts of it where it's kind of like it slogged through. Still, not bad.
I agree with you. Actually, they could have done like the. It's funny. They could have done like the Sleep Token thing where they switch up 1,700 different times with the time signatures, and then they somehow make it come in and work. But yeah, no, you're right. Actually, it was kind of.
Yeah.
But still, I'm gonna say that was a pretty good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was impressed with all the individual parts. Like, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Is kind of like I would give it similar notes to. I mean, we definitely liked it more than the Project Vengeance single, but it's one of those things of like you can have a lot of good components, but if they're not pieced together right,
then it's just
like there's gaps. Like there's a little bit of, like you said, that pacing thing. I feel like seeing that song live would have been a different experience, but like seeing it in video form, you're like, because it's interesting. It reminded me of, because I've seen some bands do that live they'll randomly slow things down and like change pacing to just kind of like go with the crowd.
Hey, I'm not against that. Royal Revive just do that all the time.
Yeah, but it's like for a YouTube video, you're like, but it's also, that shows the power of YouTube these days of like, now I think more and more the future will be, if one day, if we ever get this channel monetized, we talk about like having bands on and like have the stream money go directly to them and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be cool.
Those things through like live chats and stuff. Because I think that's the crazy thing, realizing like, what was it? Which band recently dropped off of Spirit Box? Didn't they drop off the Falling in Reverse tour? But they're replaced by Our Last Night, which was like a YouTube cover band. I was like, it was interesting to see a band go from like.
Is that the only way you know Our Last Night? Because they started off as an Epitaph Records band way back in the day.
So yeah, I mainly just their YouTube suggestions would pop up.
Yeah, like they have a song. They have two good songs I can name off the top of my head: "Broken Lives," "Sunrise."
Okay, so
that's all their independent stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so they do have other stuff, but I also. The main reason
they got huge off of their YouTube covers.
Yeah,
that's fair to just know them through that. I'm just saying, like they've been around forever. Like they've been around since like 2007.
Ooh, so like high school. Okay, so I might have heard.
Not even Trevor was in that band, slang and scream since he was like 10 or something. That's
crazy. Okay, so that's So that's interesting to like know that, because like Epitaph Records, I remember there's a bunch of bands I like that used to be on them.
Oh yeah, that's like the leading record for a lot of the stuff that we listen to.
That's the best label to get signed to as an alternative band. Like, well, it was. I don't know about it anymore, but it used to be.
Falling in Reverse was with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the main thing I was thinking of is it's interesting to see bands like really market themselves, and like Our Last Night, they do get I was seeing a bunch of people were giving them shit in the comments of being like they're just a YouTube cover band, but it's also like you're making bank.
Yeah,
they don't know, like they have other stuff, but also don't give a band shit for like making money. Like that's an honest living.
Hey, they write good covers. That Astronaut in the Ocean cover they did. Oh man, that song rips.
Yeah.
That cover's so good.
Like Havana's, like Camila Cabello, Bela or whatever. They did one with her, Havana. They got a lot of good ones, but like I Prevail too. A lot of people give I Prevail shit because they blew up with that Blank Space song that they covered. And I can understand it to an extent why I guess some people get pissed, but then they dropped Lifelines and then came out with Trauma, which was, I mean, to me, it's a 10 out of 10 album.
Dude, their Screamer is such a cool guy. The first year I toured on Warped Tour, which was 2017, they were on it too. And I was just talking to him randomly one day, and he's just like, "Yo, you in a band?" I was just like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's your band name?" I was like, "DeathBed." and he's like, I'm gonna check them out. And he pulled up Casualty on YouTube. He's just like, dude, this is awesome. I was like, I got albums and merch with me if you want some of it. And he's just like, yeah. So I left it on his bus, and dude just like blasted it out on Twitter. He's like, DeathBed. I was like, damn, that's cool. Thanks, man.
Was it Brian or was it the Screamer?
The Screamer.
I can't remember his freaking name right now. Dude, that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. I love that. See, a lot of these guys too, I guess, they're down to earth people just like us too.
Yeah. Well, dude, every day I worked there, I'd lift weights with like people from all kinds of different bands. So, they'd have a gym set up in one of the trailers, and they pull out the weight set, and we'd all just lift, bro, out for a few hours.
I remember seeing like a lot of random bands did that. Of like against me and like some of the punk bands, it was funny like watching them do workouts in between and stuff. But that's how you stay sane, because otherwise it's like just partying as you tour like can just destroy you.
Oh yeah, those guys that do that aren't healthy.
Yeah, like I remember it was interesting. We mentioned it before and stuff, but like some bands like would be given a hard time because they didn't party, and they would like early morning workouts, no smoking, no drinking, and then put on an excellent show. And people used to be like, that they're not like a hardcore band. A hardcore band, you're destroying yourself.
That's how I was.
Yeah,
like I had that mentality. I was super strict with everything. So
yeah, you got to give it your all.
Exactly.
We have one more single.
Yep.
That
is this the artwork up here? Because that looks awesome. That's
the Aggression series. Because we played Fit for an Autopsy. Hellions. Fit for an Autopsy has been jamming recently. I've just been listening to so much of their stuff and everything. And by the way, as far as like, I'm glad you mentioned Self-Medicate, because that's a great song by DeathBed.
Thanks.
You said that's your favorite. I was like, that one, and then Save Me and like Transparency.
Oh, you like Save Me?
Good ones. Yeah, like I think it's decent.
That's in ranking songs of like that were the hardest to write. Like like getting real with like emotions. That was the hardest one. That's number one up there.
Huh?
That's like it's like being very vulnerable.
Yeah. So that's
that resonates.
like those
People
two.
like that stuff.
Yeah, because it's nice, because it's like, Waste and Casualty are great because they had like good, cool music videos and stuff. But
Waste has my favorite breakdown.
Yeah, but as far as like speaking to the soul, I was like Self-Medicate and Save Me are like good ones for that.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
I'm so happy. I'm in my little zone in here. I love it.
Dude, I can come back. I'll do another one.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna have
absolutely,
because we're gonna do more. Okay, so this is Waste of Space by Malevolence, or Waste of Time. One of those.
That artwork's so sick.
Waste of Myself.
Waste of Myself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is old school already.
Oh yeah.
Shed my skin, reject the hands I've been dealt. I'm not becoming a waste of myself.
It's going crazy right now.
Yeah.
Shed my skin, reject the hands I've been dealt. Take a step so I can better myself. Give me the strength so I can be reborn. I choose not to believe that the cycle goes on and on. The cycle goes on and on. When all hope is gone, still fucking holding on. Just something slipping away. No longer blind to see an opportunity. Look in the mirror and see it staring back at me.
Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah. That was good.
okay.
That was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude.
I feel bad we blanked on them on the episode like 2 episodes ago.
I know. But what are you gonna do? Oh my, dude. When they did that tempo change, dude, I thought, oh god, I felt myself like getting ready to fuck something up, dude. I just wanted to freak.
Dude, how about that Lamb of God style chorus though?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like,
I wasn't know what to expect. I just know that I've heard like bits and pieces of Malevolence, and I know that they're fucking ass beaters of musicians. And I've seen live shows online because that's all I watch is live music of just their fucking circle pits. So I'm like, I know that this is gonna be like a fast upbeat. Oh man, but dude, that tempo change caught me off guard, my dude. It's kind of like that meme where it's like, haha, now play it slower. You know what I mean? Like that was the epitome of me right there, bro. Like, just play the same breakdown, but just play it just a slightly bit slower, dude. And I was, oh man, I loved that. Wow.
Yeah, because it had a lot of those elements of like it was nice.
God, dude, and then the pitch harmonics, the guitar work was excellent. Excellent guitar work, very fast, and it was all. I can't help but say this, but he's like, waste of myself. I was like, dude, that sounds like James Hetfield, bro. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. Like Metallica, how he's always doing the yeah. That's like all I thought about was like, is that James Hetfield?
Yeah. I thought that was like Lamb of God style, like Randy Blythe going in for a scream, like before he turns to scream on. That's kind of like his voice.
Like have those elements, actually, yeah. Because it is like Lamb of God, and then briefly got a slight hint of like Black Label Society a little bit with like some of their instrumental stuff. It was like a bit of those vocals. Yeah, because Black Label Society, super underrated. Like, or at least I don't feel like people talk about them nearly as much as they should. I'm like, that's a good one.
Well, you know what, guys? That song, in fact, fucks. That song's good. That song was very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, dude, we got 2 straight weeks of actually 3 straight weeks of really good songs. We're going to completely skip the attack. You know, that never happened.
It didn't even happen.
Yes, exactly. Never happened. We've been blessed with some pretty good ones so far. So I'm actually happy with that one. It definitely does have that old school feel though, man. I really liked it. Mm-hmm. I really liked that a lot. I'm definitely going to put that on my gym playlist. Yeah,
the whole Aggression series or Aggression Sessions, like, it's a real good album.
I am 100% checking out. I think it's Hammer Smashed Face, bro. I swear to God, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Hammer Smashed Face.
Dude,
Which it's a cover, right?
That's what I thought it was, a Cannibal Corpse cover.
Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Cannibal Corpse.
Is that what it is?
Maybe it's not, but I feel like it should be. Now I need to do my research.
I really think it is. And I was like, oh. And then Angel Maker's just remaking all these fucking amazing older deathcore, death metal, black metal songs, dude. Like, I don't know, LJ, if you've ever listened to Angel Maker or you like Job for a Cowboy. They did a remake of Knee Deep, so good. And then as Blood Runs Black, they did what the frick is it? Better Days? No. But either way, they're amazing. Angel Maker. Yeah. Is it a remake, John?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because Hammer Smash Face is like Cannibal Corpse's all like pops up for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was awesome, LJ. I'm very glad that you joined us for today's episode.
Yeah,
it was really awesome. Enjoyed this. Getting to talk to somebody I know, but for also somebody that's been in the scene. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to really enjoy hearing your perspective.
I hope so.
And seriously, man, you had one of the greatest ideas ever about, stopping these merch cuts. So I'd love to see if there's somehow, somewhere out there, someone hears it and
parking lot.
I mean, seriously, that was a phenomenal
Kevin
idea.
Lyman did it first.
Yeah.
Either way, but hey, guys, thank you for checking us out. We are available on Spotify, all streaming platforms, YouTube. Check us out, like, subscribe, share us around, and let us know what you want to hear next. We got a lot more guys coming on throughout the next several months. And LJ said he would love to come back, so maybe we'll have him in again for a little trivia game where we guess that metalcore track.
That was
brutal. We'll do that again.
So hopefully you're as good as Cam as that, because I just had to drop out, just try to not get our video demonetized.
Depending on the era of metalcore we're listening to.
This was like a greatest hits album of metalcore that was Bullet, so many things on it.
It was a good time, but that's definitely one I'd love to bring back. But like I said, guys, thanks for checking out. John, LJ, is there anything you guys would like to say on our exiting out?
Listen to DeathBed.
Yeah, listen to DeathBed. There's new stuff coming out, and that's going to come out at some point.
I cannot wait.
I'm excited.
I cannot wait.
But and subscribe. Actually listen to the video. It's great.
Let's go.